Hey guys, this is John. I'm playing Kyborg 95 in 3 minute. Looks like we're going to get an open Sicilian. And it'll be a Bishop G5 Najdorf. A very sharp line. Which I used to know a lot more about, but have not played much from either side of the board in recent years. But I think I still know a thing or two. I gotta get my 3 minute rating back over 2400. That'd be nice to have both ratings over 2400, wouldn't it? He's thinking. Okay, I'll just take this guy. And then I'll play Queen D2 instead of the usual Queen F3. Because I think now that he's allowed me to double the pawns like this, it's better to put the queen on D2. I'm very unlikely to play the move pawn to E5 coming up, which is one thing the queen does out here pretty well. When it's on F3, it can swing over to G3 and assist in pushing E5. But since he's well fortified on that square, it's unlikely that I'll be able to do that. Okay, I'm really tempted to play Knight D5 in this position. I'm just going to put that out there. Knight D5, if he takes me with the pawn, I can take back. If he takes with the bishop, then Knight F5. That just seems really promising. Usually you wait for them to play B4 before you jump into the center like this. But it looks pretty good. It also makes sense to play F5. I think I'm going to play F5 instead. It's less risky. Yeah, and if he plays it like this, I can maybe go Queen H6 is what I'm thinking. Could even take on B5 with check. Ooh, that's got to be good. Yeah, let's take here.
Check.
I think this is strong, unless I'm mistaken. I'll pre-move that. Maybe this isn't so strong. I was thinking I was going to be able to win D6 and he had to go to F8, but that's obviously not the case. Okay, let's take here. Let's just see how he responds to that. I can play my queen into H6. That's one thing I could do. What else could I do? I could take on D6 and just try to net a pawn. This seems more dynamic. Thing is, he's going to castle queenside. He's going to castle out of this. Let's go here now. Just attack this bishop. Might as well grab this guy. It's kind of unclear. I don't really know what to make of this position. I mean, I have 3 pawns for the piece. But for the moment, he has everything defended. And he just plays a useful move with his king. I honestly feel like I should just shove my H-pawn. So I'm going to do that. He can take on E4, or he can try. But I have 3 pieces protecting that. So if he tries to take on E4 intending to deflect my knight from guarding the other knight, it won't succeed. I can play rook takes and I'll get 2 minors. I think, unless he has some D5 idea at that point. That could be interesting if he does that. He's hiding his king again. Let's just keep pushing this guy. I'm going to push my H-pawn until he gives me a reason not to. Okay, so now he might be gearing up on B2 is a possible idea. So he's threatening like bishop C6, something along those lines. I'm just going to go here. If he takes on E4, then I'll just take with my rook. I'm going to put my knight on B3 to try to diffuse some of his activity. He can play bishop takes E4, though. And I'm going to take with the rook. He'll take on B2 with check. I go king D2. And that's really messy, but I think I'm doing okay. Really? Like this, huh? Okay, I guess I'll just go back with my rook. I'm not sure what his idea is. If he gives me a check on g5, I'll move my king to b1, of course. If he moves his bishop anywhere, I'll play this. Let's just go here. I'm attacking his bishop. I could have taken that with check on the previous move.
Time warning.
Wasn't pre-moving. Okay, I have this move now. And like something like this.
Check.
I don't think I'll get mated.
Check.
At least I hope not. I have this
Check.
now. Yeah, okay. So I won out in the complications. I could have taken his bishop on g2, though, a few moves ago, with check. That would have been much easier. Right here. When he took on c3, I had that move. Looks to me like it would have been a critical try for him to play bishop takes e4 in this position. And I wasn't sure how to assess rook takes, queen
Check.
takes b2, and then this. It's messy. It's very messy. Probably in his favor, though. Like, maybe now f5 is very strong. He can double attack my rook. And bishop g5 is enabled as well. That might just be a nearly decisive idea. What can I do to defend against that? If he checks me on g5 and my king has to run, that's disastrous, because almost certainly I'll be losing this knight on c3. So, in this line with bishop g5, usually black plays bishop e7 first, or knight bd7. Queen c7 does allow this capture, and I mentioned that I think white's queen is better off on d2 now. I can bring it to f3 still. Actually, I shouldn't speak so categorically about this because it's been such a long time since I played these positions, but I'm pretty sure the queen belongs on d2 now instead of f3, but now I'm second-guessing myself. But one of the benefits of having the queen on f3 in the main line, if they play like bishop e7, for instance, is that after queen f3, queen c7, castles, knight bd7, we'll just take this continuation, for example, bishop d3, b5, white can start to think about the e5 move. Now e5 right away in this position would be met by bishop b7 with a tempo on the queen. So normally white will play rook he1, and then after bishop b7, white will play queen g3. This is one of the very main lines of bishop g5 on move 6. And now the queen being here, which was set up by the queen f3 move, does give some more force behind e5, and e5 is a real threat that black has to address. But in the game, when I capture on f6, and he's allowing me to double his pawns up, I mean, he can't recapture with this queen anymore, I don't think my queen has so much to do on that square. Unless I was intending to play like pawn to f5, and then maybe transfer the queen to like h3 to apply a lot of pressure on e6. That's the only scenario where I could envision this being really good. So I just played queen d2. If I had to do this over again, I do not think I would have sacrificed on b5 coming up. I do wonder about the knight d5 sacrifice. That would be a little unprompted in this circumstance. After take and take, though, I am threatening knight f5. I think the thing is he's going to flee this way, though. And this is very similar to, again, one of the main lines of bishop g5. But I don't see a real promising follow-up. Because what's annoying is he can always defend his bishop better by playing like knight c5 in the coming move. Although, I guess if this happens, he'd have to play bishop f8 to save it. Or maybe rook e8. Huh. I wonder what the engine thinks about this sacrifice. Take, take. Says bishop takes d5 is best for him. Well, what if king d8? King d8, for some reason, it really likes bishop e4 and wants to transfer the bishop to f3. I guess holding on to this pawn is worth it. You know, bishop e4 does help me play knight c6 check, so I shouldn't laugh at that move that the engine's suggesting. So, in these positions, in the open Sicilian, especially in the Najdorf, if you have your rook on e1 and your opponent's king is still sitting on e8, and you're kind of x-raying that king, and you have a knight that's within range of the d5 square, you should pretty much be hyper aware of knight d5. In fact, there was a game I posted from the black side of a classical Sicilian not more than a few days ago where I completely overlooked this knight d5 possibility from my opponent. It wasn't a Najdorf, but the circumstances were exactly the same. He had a rook on h1, on e1 opposing my king on e8, and knight d5 just led to an opening of the position that should not have been in my favor. I actually ended up winning that game, but it wasn't because of that. So instead I went for f5. Now if he had played e5, I was planning to play knight d5. Was I? No, that's ridiculous. I just lose a piece if that happens. For some reason, I thought that take, I would be able to win my piece back. But it's probably because I'm recording this video pretty late at night and I'm like semi-delirious. I had a long day. Scratch that. If e5, I would have came to my senses and calmly retreated the knight to b3 and enjoyed a slightly better position. Yeah, I have no idea what would happen if e5. Maybe I would have pre-moved knight d5 or blitzed out knight d5 and paid the price. I guess I was just fixated on this d5 square. But he played knight c5.
Check.
And I took on b5. Again, this was kind of reckless. I don't think I should have done this. I was honestly expecting to be able to take this, and for some reason my brain like just assumed he would play king f8. And then I could go in queen h6 and his position would collapse and I'd win in a blaze of glory. So once I got this far though, I didn't want to chicken out and just like go for another pawn, although objectively that may be the best thing to do. But I'm not surprised the computer thinks I'm worse in this position, despite having 3 pawns for the piece. Because he'll put his king on e7. His knight and his bishop can cause me a lot of problems. And the pawns that I'm ahead, they're all on the queen side. They're in front of my king. And they're not remotely dangerous for black at the moment. So that's why black is better in this position. Okay, so I played f takes e6 and then invaded with my queen. He got his king out of dodge, and I went here. I just grabbed the pawn on h7. Yeah, I kind of figured like I wasn't any better here, but then again, he didn't find any compelling way to punish me. Like, I don't think king b8, king a8, rook b8 is going to keep white up at night if this was the consequence of my sacrifice way back on move 14. So, it seems like he's got to find some more active plan. I see bishop a6 the computer approves of, just trying to force this knight back right away. Yeah, I guess it would have been even better here. It's suggesting a line like bishop a6, knight here, and then giving a check on this square, which is interference on my rook defending the knight. And I take with the pawn, and he grabs on d4. Yeah, this does look very nice for him. Now his bishop pair looks a lot more fearsome. And my pawns look scattered. Instead, he did this, and I pushed. Okay, so now bishop takes e4 would have been good. Let's see if it validates that line I was saying. So here, queen takes b2, king d2. Rook h8 is a good move? What is the purpose of that? Okay, so if rook h8, I guess queen takes e7, knight takes e4 would be the idea. And then if I were to take with my knight, he can grab the knight on d4 with a check. And he's also picking that up with tempo as well. Yikes. So just to show you guys that line. So this was the hypothetical variation that could have happened if he had played bishop takes e4, attempting to get at b2, which I thought was the whole purpose behind this hide the king on a8, rook to b8 plan. So, yeah, here, take, here, now this move, deflecting my queen. Yeah, that hurts. And if queen g6, rook hg8 is almost lights out for me. So let's just say I take. But now he has this. My pieces fall like dominoes. Take. He can take my knight next move. And I'm down a rook, and I'm probably just getting mated too. Okay, so I was busted. I was just busted if he played bishop takes e4. Fortunately for me, he did that. I took with the rook. I guess I could have taken with the knight too, huh? Maybe this was worth considering. Oh, wow. Queen takes b2 in that case.
Check.
That's cool. And then after this, take
Check.
here. Uh-huh. And I'll pick up my queen. Was that possible in the game as well? After rook takes? Yeah, why not? Queen
Check.
takes b2. Aha. Although in this case, king d2, and because my knight is still on c3, it hasn't gone to e4, he can't play queen takes d4. So this is a little less clear. Again, this f5 move pops up, though. I think that's a good idea. f5 and try to get the bishop working to g5. Yeah, and when he plays f5... Wait, did he do f5? Yeah, he did. f5 now. Okay, right. Instead of taking on e4 first. Here, I could have taken on e6 would have been good. I just instinctively went back. I'm better again. I shouldn't say again. I haven't really been better for much in this game. Yeah, and just out-blitz him in the time pressure. Oh, I had rook takes d5 even here. Okay. Yeah, he still has problems on this one. Fortunately, I got a second crack at it. Oh, I had it again. Rook takes d5. Oh, and I actually didn't even need to get that fancy. I could have just taken his rook on e8. Can you blame us? We're under 20 seconds. The rook was still hanging with check. Now it's not.
Check.
And
Check.
I just won. Yeah. Okay, wild game. Wild game. Well, I don't think Kyborg95 or I are going to claim that was a particularly well-played game, but I hope it was at least entertaining and perhaps somewhat informative. So thank you guys for watching. Please feel free to leave me any feedback in the comments. Thanks, guys.